Greetings, mortals. I am Nathas, the ruler of the underworld, and today we'll be doing the penultimate video for the Beasts, Pirates, Inmates of Hell series, which means we'll be talking about King the Wildfire. Funny enough, ironically enough, he's also the one that uses his epithet the most, or at the very least, he's the one that utilizes his epithet the most because Jack and Queen were kind of not gonna say they didn't use it, but it was kind of underwhelming usage of their powers. You know, just saying like the other two really don't use much poison. I mean, it kind of shows the fact that in his volume you have King having his flaming sword, yet Queen just doesn't have anything to really show poison. But regardless, let's get into this series. So we'll start with King's backstory, okay, which is a bit like I wouldn't say it's tragic because it's not like, oh my god, these horrible things. Because, I mean, horrible things do happen to King, but it's kind of like more bad things that happen in his backstory. But as he has like the most fleshed out backstory amongst, I kind of want to say all the Beast Pirates because many of them have kind of like vague stories. But regardless, so King is a Lunarian, which is a very rare race in One Piece where it's basically far after being extinct since I think the Void Century, since that's where the Celestial Dragons took over the Red Line and Lions originally were from the Red Line. So assuming there isn't like a certain, well, even if there was a certain different definition of it, I feel like it would still count for that. They would still count for it, but regardless, we have the. But regardless, he was one of the last Lunarians out there. I'm assuming his parents were hunted down. Maybe it was like a thing where there was a tiny tribe, like big enough to a point there was no inbreeding, but not big enough to be considered a survival alternative. Either that, or it's like one of those things where the genes are so prominent that there is very high chance of being coming back, like the Bucketeers kind of situation with Kuma and all that. But regardless, we're even half and half. It could be like a 100% of one child in one way or the other. But regardless, we have Luna. Regardless of what his parents were, both Lunarians or just half Lunarian, he was definitely born a Lunarian, and the world government, came in contact with him and wanted to. When he was like, I think 15, was stated. He was captured just a few years before that, and he was 15, where he met Carter, who was also imprisoned there. I'd like to wonder if the Southend project was something that was being planned long before it was actually utilized by Vegapunk, because he already had blood from that time period, which is then used for Southends. But I don't know. Maybe it was like one of those things that like, just for the sake of having Lunarian blood to see to be used in the future rather than anything specific. But regardless, King was captured and experimented on, and took his blood was taken. When Kaido broke out after one of his captured and stated that he's going and asked King to join him, and they have like their first like captain and first mate kind of relationship formed there as King and joins Kaido and they escape and they go on their journey. Funny enough, King doesn't consider himself a swordsman, and he used the sword throughout his entire life. It's probably like one of those things where it's very easy to learn how to use a blade, so maybe it's like one of those that situation. But regardless, we have King and Kaido traveling up here. Those two are kind of like the main two. As Higurashi, I believe, Orochi's aunt, or whatever she was, the old hack that was kind of the reason why everything happened, and connected. She was the one that brought Kaido and King to one, or at least the connection that the two coming there. I mean, there might be some past with Higurashi and Kaido because there is a bit of a resemblance between, I believe, Shiki and one lady that looks like Stussy, young Stussy, but regardless of that fact, I don't think there's anything staying in there that those two are connected, but that's more of a kind of video thing. Regardless, King and Kaido get there to Wano, and I'm assuming they pick up Queen doing that as well, because it's kind of like this thing where Kaido's on a chair in on the Pirate Paradise Island, but King is there as his like bodyguard, and I think he doesn't wear his gimp mask that he wore throughout the beginning of the for a good chunk of the Wano for the good chunk of Wano. Probably because there's like no reason to keep the mystery up anymore, but regardless, we have King joining in the conquest of Wano. He doesn't really, I think, do anything particularly impressive. I think he just kind of want thing where he's a really powerful opponent, so he's able to beat Scabbers and all that type of deal. But he himself doesn't really do anything massive in that in there. Maybe you could say he's the one who started fire, but I don't think it's really necessary for him to be the one to start fire. But yeah, anyways, we don't really. I think he's confirmed, and then that's all for his backstory and his history. Then I don't. I think it's also stated that pre-time skip that he may have actually been alongside Kaido when it came to going to Marineford, which is kind of a thing that's been kind of forgotten. I feel like by Oda because he never really goes back into Kaido and I think King was again a viewer can say that he went along with Kaido to Marineford to go against Whitebeard before he died, but it was intercepted by Shang, so it's kind of difficult to say what exactly happened. I mean, there was no real significant wound or skull or anything like that, so yeah, we don't really know. But yeah, anyways, then when we get to Wano arc, he's kind of how do I say this? He's kind of there in Wano arc throughout the whole part, but he doesn't really do much. Like in the first. In the part Act 1 of Wano, he just makes a little cameo appearance or like to set up the rest of Wano where he's like chastising Jack for having a horrible display against Ashura Doji, and you're like getting the basic about Kings and Queen's relationship. Then he goes. Then in the second act, he also doesn't do much. The only thing he does of significance is being the one that kicks Big Mom pirate ship down because he can fly, he's powerful, so he should be able to kick the ship off. And then I think he's a bit like, and then I think there's like a little joke about him being like, "Oh, I swear I kicked her and kicked Big Mom and her ship down, but she's clearly not down because she came back here." And the Queen's kind of chastising him for it. As then Big Mom says, "I am willing to forgive you if you join in my Totland, King, after your race is one of the three that I do not have. Giants being one, Lunarians being the other, and I'm iffy on the Buccaneers being there because I feel like even by accident they would get Buccaneers there, but regardless, King is obviously refusing. He is Kaido's right-hand man through and through, so he doesn't do anything. And plus, he was chained up, so he probably was under pressure that she couldn't really do much against him anyway. So yeah, King. So King doesn't really do much afterwards. He's again just kind of there. Then we get to Act 3 of Wano, where he does actually, get more of a thing because, ironically enough, we do get kind of a in between the focus between the three All Stars throughout Wano. Where we have Act 1 for Jack, Act 2 for Queen, and Act 3 for King. Kind of not 100% or guaranteed, but like it's kind of like that. Where King does first, he just kind of sort of appears sporadically throughout it. Like you have him. I think first like eye rolling, that might just be been in the anime with King's performance, with Queen's performance on the live stage. Then he invites, I guess after he invited the Toby Ropo to show up to talk with Kaido. He reveals in that meeting that he was the one that invited them because, and the reason why he used Kaido's name is because you guys won't show if I called you, which implies that a good chunk of these of the Tobiropo at the very least are known to be kind of refusing to follow the hierarchical structure, which is fine because I think Sasaki and Tusu are the only two who are actually like pointed out, but like that's the thing. It's sick, so it feels less important than just two, but because they're small number, it actually feels more important. But regardless. he knows what to do and I gotta listen. And Kaido is like, fine. I mean, I wish you told me beforehand that you invited them, but whatever. You do you, King. As in, King informs Kaido, well, tells that they need to be able to go look for Yamato, and Kaido also throws a bonus if the one who captures Yamato is going to be able to get a chance to challenge the All Stars for their position, which at least implies you have to do something to get a position. It doesn't mean you just anyone can just walk up to King and be like, "Hey, I challenge you for the position of All Star." I mean, ridiculous to think about if someone actually wants to fight King, but you can't get the idea. So King is confident he can handle any one of the Toby Ropo, and then he kind of disappears for a bit until Kaido makes his announcement where we have like that cool panel with Kaido and all of his top subordinates and Fukuroji and Orochi there as well to be comical for some reason. And just stands there until Kaido gets an over to Orochi, so he just grabs King's sword and decapitates Orochi as then sheaves King's sword back. Then he just kind of stands there until the Red Scabbard show up, shoot the King's katana off his hands, but he doesn't really do much. Until everyone kind of just splits away, like Kaido and Jack and a few others go up in the stairs, while King just kind of stays there. As then the King spent some time trying to prevent Luffy and the others to go to fight Kaido, but Marco comes in and stops him, holds him and Queen down. Then for all that, we spent some time like regularly coming back, sometimes regularly coming back to King's fight against Marco, I believe, and some others. I mean, he does also like strike at Sanji doing it, like because Sanji faces Momonosuke. That's when King shows up, attacks him, and there's some conflicts there, but not doesn't really get much focus on until Zoro recovers from his fight with Kaido and Big Mom without those drugs. And that's when Marco is already kind of spent on his energy, as we get like this cool panel with King and Queen standing above Sanji and Marco, but Marco tells them that their generation is over, now it's their generation, and Sanji and Zoro show up and go into a conflict and go ready for their fights, where we then have kind of a hint to his lineage, as we have him doing the fight with Zoro, being kind of irked that Queen mentioned his race, because he's not because he's very concerned about his appearance because his race is very rare and his race itself is a bounty worthy. But regardless, King then has a little fight, and when Zoro destroys some of his mask and reveals a bit of it, he gets super angry and just starts like cutting everything. Like he doesn't even care about subordinates anymore. Until Zoro take their fight outside to have a bit of an all-out fight, and that's where King really gets his focus on. And King there's a little bit at the beginning of the fight. There's a bit of a problem with how Zoro plans on beating King because of his being Havlunari and all that. But after some conqueror's hawkery mastery and getting control of, he's able to cut King and destroys King's mask completely, which that's where we get the reveal that he's half Lunarian. That's where Beast Boy's like, oh, there were rumors about King being half Lunarian, which I don't know what other explanation there would be for him to have black wings and fire on his back, but whatever. And they're just saying, oh, you get money if you just give a Lunarian in, but it's not like directly said they're gonna do it, but more like an observation. It's more a world building thing about it, honestly. But King doesn't care. He's just pissed that they saw his face, and now he uses his fire to burn them to a crisp. There's like a snarky comment about it from Zoro. But then King's like, it does not matter. Now it's time to finish you off, and then we get to the clash and the slicing and all that. And then we get like a certain, comment that cements King's loss, and the victory for the Straw Hats as King's loss. As we have like a little flashback with King say a moment with King and Kaido when Kaido's like, "I will be the king of the pirates," probably in the early years, as King says, "Well, if you're gonna be the king of the pirates, you're not losing until I think it was like, you're not losing as long as I am there, because or like, and as long as I'm stand victorious, you will stand above all. So it's got like paralleling how symbolic is saying it's got like the Nika fruit where it was first mentioned and like it was utilized in this. It was kind of the same thing where King fall and now Kaido is going to fall. And yeah, as there we have like a clash, and King Zoro uses his ultimate ultimate attack, and destroys King's flame dragon replica, as well as cuts he cuts one of King's wings off, and defeats King, and King falls to the ground. Then afterwards, he goes to Udon. I'm guessing to lick his wounds. It doesn't seem like he was restrained or being held prisoner there, and consider the fact that he and Queen got, separated before Unigashima fell, and they were, in that general area, and no one else from Onigashima who was unconscious in it was the, wasn't showing Udon. I'm kind of guessing they just went back to Udon to lick their wounds to find out what the fuck happened there. And that's where King spent a good chunk of his time until Green Bull showed up and he low to no diff King and Queen. It's probably because they were still tired and exhausted, because in the manga we actually do still have the two being, bandaged up, and now we're being able to use their full capabilities, and the anime is even more clear because we have like Queen transforming and swinging a blast, but then he's immediately exhausted up to a point he has to go back to his regular form. And I think King's fire is also doesn't exactly isn't as engulfing as it usually is. So it's like it depends on who you ask. Do you think that King and Queen were still able to fight or recovered, or do you think not? Because it's like, I mean, it's said that Zoans have a good like recovery process and a good endurance. It's kind of weird that those two, after week, even if they don't have a top tier medical person up there, you would think they would still their natural regeneration or their natural healing factors would just kind of, food related healing factors would kind of just have them to recover, but it didn't, and that's the last time we see King. So yeah. Then let's go with that history on King out of the way. Let's get to his design. And King has like that, has that cool design. He is the right-hand man of the main villain, so obviously he's gonna look the coolest, have like the best designs, because that's usually how Oda does it. Like, you go really goofy with with a lot of the crewmates, especially some of the times with the ones that go up against Sanji. But because like Zoro's opponents, he will usually try to make them as badass. I think Kako is the only time where Zoro's opponent had a more goofy appearance to him. Because outside that, I think Zoro's opponents are usually the coolest looking ones. Hachi as well. Actually, Hachi was also a very comical looking opponent, but to be fair, Zoro was severely injured, so being called the right hand man isn't exactly accurate. Especially, I think Kurubi was originally supposed to be the right hand man of Alon, but you could say that he is the right hand man, just not as prominently. But regardless, Zoro clashed with. But regardless, King has a very cool looking, like with his ladder and having like a lot of belts and all. There's a bit of a theory that he might have also been originated from Impel Down, because he wore like a very similar style to an Impel Down uniform, which I think is just kind of like accidental similarity. I mean, it's not 1-to-1, but it's like, it's kind of like Shiryu, who still wears his Impel Down uniform, but just kind of swapped the Impel Down flag or a flag or symbol with a generic pirate symbol, for skulls and all that. So it's like you can tell that he was from Impel Down, but you tell that he was from Impel Down. And King's kind of a similar thing, but he just has like a oddly similar design aesthetic. It's probably just because there's so much in One Piece that Oda probably just accidentally did it. I don't think he actually, thought much about it. That, especially since, he probably just thought it would work well, the latter outfit would work well with the, aesthetic of the Beast parts in general. So yeah, underneath that cool attire, he also is like a very pretty boy kind of thing. going with him, where he has like this very, kind of like handsome face. He was also dark skinned because that's like the significant appearance of Lunarians. They have black wings, fire on their backs, white hair, and dark skin. So that's how you symbolize. Which personally I would say the black wings and the fire on your back is the bigger kind of thing that will give you a hint to them being a Lunarian than the hair color or skin color, because this is One Piece that's it's a lot more variety than that in those two departments. But whatever. He also has like a little tattoo across his face, which is just to look cool. Look at King's face. Is he rocking that stupid dreadlock to the side hairstyle that is being worn very often by video game characters? The black characters. Like Miles' new suit, Starter character in one game. Like I don't know if you saw that, but there's like a meme video on YouTube, YouTube short video where one guy reacts to Miles' new suit, and he makes fun of the hair. Like more people are wearing that suit that hairstyle online or in media than the actual real life. Like how many people in real life can you name who actually have their hairstyle that way? So that's kind of making me wonder if the king also has that kind of hairstyle. I mean, I think it's actually. I mean, it's kind of like dreadlock, but kind of seems random as well. Like there's like a bit of wavy hair from it, as well as like in the ones in the most fun also look it, but then there's like a bit tight in between it. But it's not 1-to-1, but it kind of looks like that. I guess Oda really liked that. I guess Oda didn't want to go complete with that style yet, or maybe because it's Japan, so they didn't feel like imitating that hairstyle too much. But regardless, that's the King's appearance. Again, a very cool appearance, and yeah. Now, as for King's fighting style, King's fighting style is a little bit more in between a regular brawler, swordsman, as well as a ability user. Like he's not like King has a sword, but he doesn't have like King himself said like he's not much of a swordsman. He's just kind of uses a blade. It's kind of like Akame in the manga where there's that a samurai douchebag and he has like this, oh, use my blade in the future, but she doesn't. She just cuts him down. She's like, "How dare you not honor the fallen swordsman's will?" But she's like, "I'm not a swordsman. I use a katana to fight, but I'm not a swordsman." Well, swordswoman, but whatever. So it's kind of similar thing with King, where he might use a sword as his prominent weapon, but he's not doesn't view himself as a swordsman. Especially since his sword does have a gimmick to it, where it has like a thing. It kind of has like this Orochi kind of sword thing, where it can like it. I think it's uh, retort some of the parts of the blade, so you would be able to hook a blade from a swordsman and like rip it out or pull it out of their hands, and to have them to disarm them. So King has his blade more for that, and to like. And I'm also assuming there's like an easier time to send out his fire at his opponent, because that's how he does it. Like he engulfs his sword with fire, and he uses them for long attacks, especially like his final dragon emanating move is like one of those things. So yeah. Then he also has like a bit of a brawler thing where he fights with his hands and also sends some slices when he goes into his hybrid form, which his hybrid form is funny enough, just a Pterodon's wings by the looks of things. Like I don't think he has like a beak or anything. Like I mean, literally just the wings, which kind of makes not even feet. I think literally just the wings are the only thing about him that turns Pterodon when he is just when he's in his hybrid state. Which I mean, apparently hybrids do have a bit more of an. You can be more mixing and matching when it comes to the hybrid forms, but regardless, he has his that's his hybrid form, and he uses the Pterodon Dower Fruit, which it's aside from just being a flying dinosaur, he also gets like a weird gimmick that Oda decided to do with the ancient zones, where he gave them. Honestly, kind of last second now that I think about it, that specific like some special moves when it comes to hunting and like Queen's being able to detach his uh, neck and tail, and that's like becomes like a snake-like creature. And that or Sasaki like flying around with his ribbon. King has that kind of thing as well, where his abilities, like apparently the ways that Talon's dead in One Piece world is they grab them, their upper parts of the neck, the like spike behind them, pull it back, which also pull out their face that gives it like this kind of cringe face, and then let it go, and I was like a shot it down like a laser beam. So that kind of makes the unique, gives a bit more uniqueness, and kind of like the goofy part about King, because again, King is one of those characters that doesn't really get much goofiness or jokes or from them like Queen does. It's more like that's kind of the like little funny gimmick about them, but that's pretty much it when it comes to the comedy. Then another ability that he has is because of his Lunarian traits and the reason why he's so powerful and the strongest after Kai, the strongest member, is because his Lunarian body has like this in between speed and endurance based on the fire. If the fire is super huge on his back, then his physical defenses are really high, and he can really put out a lot of damage. So most characters' attacks are not really gonna do much, which is the point with him and the Seraphins. It's kind of bigger as what would happen if a advanced Conqueror Soccer user Stroke King. It's like kind of hinted at Zoe that could work, but he doesn't use it from what we can tell against King. So 50-50. Well, no, he uses Advanced Conquerors on King, but King at that point does not have his fire activated, which suggests that they do get damage from Advanced Conquerors, to where it makes more sense to just outspeed and outpower their opponents. And that's kind of what King's other thing is with fire. When he doesn't have any fire, he's super fast, so it's like a speed boost. Like when you fire, you kind of cannot damage him, but without fire, he's super fast. It's like one of those two, which is either taking hits or speeding hits, which is the reason why people have a hard time against him, because like it's either he's gonna outspeed you, which the fact that he's the commander of a Yonko is very likely that he's always gonna be extremely fast, and now he's even gonna be faster, or he's gonna be able to outtake the damage. So it's like one of those things where you have to really think about how to overcome him in a combative situation. So yeah. Now, anyways, with the fights out of the way, let's get into the relationships with King. Like you could probably imagine, King does not really have many relationships with the characters, because again, he shows up only doing Wano, and he doesn't really do much in Acts 1 and 2. The only notable relationships I would say is that fact is his and Kaido, because that's like the one that's the most fleshed out, where we have him be, extremely loyal right hand in command, like similar case to Zoro and Luffy kind of probably supposed to parallel. That's probably like the reason why his design is like your generic pretty boy kind of design, because you're kind of more parallel with Zoro kind of deal. So yeah, that's because Kaido's and honestly the moments between him and Kaido are very nice. I do wish we get to see more of them, but it is what it is. Outside of that, King doesn't really respect Queen much. Like they constantly bicker and argue with one another. There's like even comment when the initial attack on the raids happens, where he's like, "Do not worry, Queen. I accepted the fact that I cannot expect much of you a long time ago." So yeah, there's like that one's like the most like I won't say brotherly kind of arguing. While the other times it's always like very much insulting one another and not taking one another seriously. I mean, granted, they do kind of respect one another's power. Like Queen will acknowledge King as the stronger opponent, or the opponent that's unlikely to be defeated amongst the Beast Pirates. But that's about the end with their relationship. It's kind of more of a I mean, we can respect each other's capabilities, at least when it comes down to it. Kind of similar to Sanji and Zou. Like, they can respect each other's abilities, but when it comes down to it. Which probably also, again, works for the parallels between the two crews, but yeah. Then, outside of, we don't get much from King and Jack. outside of the fact that King doesn't looks down on him, but that's unclear if he also there is more of a brotherly relationship with them. I kind of doubt it because I feel like there isn't any kind of hints to it. So yeah, it's not even like one of those things where like page one, Old Tin Jack, where you can kind of see it as Kaido is viewing them as his kids, even if they are not. But that's not the case with. But I don't think there's any kind of deeper relationship with King or any of the Toby Roper. So yeah, that's about it for the relationship with King. He hasn't really had much of a like connection with Zoe as well. Also, like an opponent he has to beat in this situation. But yeah. Anyways, for the future of King, he's kind of again like a lot of the Beast Pirates. We don't know where they are, and King's like another one of those things where, all right, we know that he was left restrained in Udon after Green Bull low-dipped them, but is he still in Wano, or did Green Bull take Cam and Queen at least as like compensational prizes? Like I may not, I may have been scared and shit myself over Shanks, but at least I captured these two high-ranking former young crewmen from the Beast Pirates. So maybe that I could see him popping up in a however the Marco saving Weaver story plays out. Or I could see him still being Wano and we see him popping up in Yamato's cover story. We don't know right now which one of these he's gonna be, but I kind of feel like the first one with Green Bull is more likely because it makes more sense for Green Bull to capture at least. Even if he has to pick, unless if Queen has something very important, I feel like between the two of them he will at least take King because he's more precious because of being a rare race and being the right hand man with a higher bounty. So I think he makes more sense, and I could see it. Like I could even see being like one of those friends where the Gorosei would want him, so Saturn could experiment on him or something. But regardless of which one. However, the decision is, I think King is somewhere captured right now, and I could see him coming back into the story. I mean, he would definitely be cool character to be empowered, but the thing is, I really don't know what more can King offer because I don't see like Kakuri. I can see coming back as a Luffy ally and to save his sister, but King is kind of like I don't see why he would align himself with the Straw Hats. I don't see why he would. I don't know if he would really join anyone particular. That's if he's just coming along with like cross guild, maybe. I mean, I could see him like I could see Crocodile offering King a position on the crew since like Crossguild has very few powerful figures right now, and one of our favorites is the fact that he might get like a bunch of former warlords being kind of becoming a new team, so maybe King will join there, but I don't know really. King is kind of like that. Like Queen, I can see having a purpose to a story with joining Mats and all that. But King, I don't really see anything particular about him. It's kind of like, it's kind of like one of those things where, I mean, I really don't know why he would join anyone. I don't know really where he would go because there's nothing in the story that would say he would, go anywhere. I can't really think of just being there for the sake of being there. It's kind of like the Baroque works or one of those types of groups where what could they really, whose side would they really take? Why would they take this one side? Why would they do anything like that? But yeah, that's it for King. Not my favorite Beast Pirate, but definitely on my upper echelons and all that. And yeah, so anyways, I hope you like this video. I hope you leave your thoughts on King in the comments below. And don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to this channel for more videos in the future, and get ready because next discussion is gonna be about the big man himself, Kaido, King of the Beasts. Anyways, goodbye. See you later.